to the Yarnandewegirl podcast. I'm Janine, your host, also known as Yarnandewegirl, and may the 4th be with you. I've got my Empire Strikes Back t-shirt on, and it is May 4th, and we're well into, I think, about 6 weeks of this quarantine thing. How's everyone holding up? I know my life hasn't changed all that much, except for the fact that I am now trying to facilitate my children's school routine, but I am an essential worker, so I still go to work. It has changed a little bit in the fact that now at work I am wearing a mask for 9 hours, and we have a lot of barriers and all that stuff up between us, but I don't have as much free time as everyone else seems to be having, but I am kind of enjoying the time at home. I feel like I've been getting a lot of things done, or at least starting a lot of things, and I'm doing my best to inject a little bit of money into the economy by purchasing lots of things online. I don't know if that's just out of boredom that I'm buying things, because I find that every time I go on Instagram or watch YouTube videos or something, there's something that catches my eye, a pattern that somebody is making or some yarn that somebody is using, and I've just been, I have to have that, or I have to have that. And not only just yarn, but like I bought some puzzles, and I bought a serger sewing machine, and just a bunch of different things. So I think this is not really good for my pocketbook, but that's okay. I feel like I'm supporting my community, especially since most of the things that I purchase are through small businesses like my own. So that's kind of what's been going on in my world. I hope everything's going on in your world, and that everyone in your immediate loving area is healthy and safe. We're doing great so far here. I know that a couple weeks ago I was kind of sick. I had a cough, that and a mild fever, and it could have been coronavirus. I don't know. I didn't go in because wasn't significant enough, but I did stay home from work. I made sure not to go out and spread it around to anyone else. So I'm feeling better now. It was, like I said, it wasn't much what I had. So I don't know. And I didn't, at the time there weren't a lot of tests that were happening. I don't think that that's what it was, because there's really been few cases in our area. So hopefully that wasn't what it was. But either way, my family hasn't gotten sick or didn't have any of that stuff. I think it might have been just a kind of fluke thing. And the fever wasn't even very high. It was like 99, 0.5 or something like that. So a little high for me, but not like overly crazy. So I don't think that that's what it was. But again, I didn't get tested because it just didn't seem like I needed to expose anybody just to go get a test. So I stayed at home and just kind of, did my thing. But other than that, it has been really good. So, no big deal here. We're doing great. So I hope you all are doing well wherever you are. Stay safe and follow those social distancing guidelines. That's super important right now. I know it feels like we're well into this, and it feels like a little bit like, is this really doing anything? And they're talking about reopening all this stuff. And while I think that's great, I'm a little concerned that there might be a resurgence of this. And I would love for it to be gone so that I can get back to my normal life. I had plans to go to Washington, D.C. That didn't happen. I was supposed to go to Vegas next weekend for my brother's birthday, and then that's not happening. He's getting married in June. I'm really hopeful that that wedding can still happen, because, they're still going to get married on that day, but I'm really hopeful that the wedding can still happen and we can start getting, back to our regularly scheduled programming, as you might say. So, but of all the crafting things I've been doing, I'm sure that's why you guys are here. You're wanting to be either inspired or just keep the boredom at bay. I've got quite a few different finished objects of different things that I have been working on for a long time. Some things that you guys haven't seen that I finished. So I'm very excited to share some of that stuff with you. It's probably been about a month maybe since I think I last podcast right at the beginning of all this stuff. So I feel like I've got a lot accomplished, but I also feel like I just keep wanting to cast on all these new things, and I'm trying really hard to kind of curb that a little bit because I know I'm trying to finish up some of the stuff that's been languishing. So one of the finished objects I have is my socks. These are just a 3x1 rib sock, and I don't have my sock blockers. They've been worn a couple times now. They are in O Loops, the Fashion Knot base, which is a sparkle base with a little bit of gold stellina in it, and the colorway is Bellini Breeze, and it's really nice. I think I linked it last time, but I tried a reverse, what's it called? Fleagle heel. And I think it turned out okay. I don't know if I am happy with the way that it fits, but for an experiment on a sock, totally happy. I did end up with a weird hole on one of them on the side, but I just took some of the scrap yarn and just kind of wove it in on the wrong side and closed that up, no problem. So I did the reverse fleagle heel, and in the last episode I posted a link for it. I was able to find it. I was worried I wasn't able to find it, and I did find it. So if you guys were interested in that, check out the last episode. There will be a link in the description box about where to go to get those instructions. So I did finish those. That's great. Socks have not been my mojo lately, so I feel like it was good to get these finished. These were just kind of I started them at the Sew Expo just to kind of keep my hands busy, and I wanted to get them finished and get them off the needles. Oh, and there is my lovely dog barking. Every time, Tonks, hey. Every time somebody walks by, every single time, he barks at them. Like, I know they're there, buddy. I really just need to get some curtains in the front so that he can't see them as easily. That he has to, like, really push his head out, in between and actually, stay at the window, because he will sit on the stairs and, like, stare out the window and bark at the neighbors. And it's so nice out. Puppy, come on. Come here. It's so nice out that he, everybody's out right now. Come here, baby. You can stay in here with me. So everybody's out now and walking around, since we can't really leave our homes very much and go do things. Everybody's kind of in the neighborhood getting their exercise. All the gyms are closed, so people are more, riding their bikes, walking, running, whatever. And since they don't have to go to work, most of them, they're out a lot. So he's barking a lot lately. But we're trying to curb that. It's a little hard. He is a Labradoodle, and I think the poodle in that mix is very kind of guard doggy, maybe. I don't know. But he's sweet. I had to give him a haircut the other day because obviously I can't take him to the groomer, and his fur was starting to like grow in his eyes, and then he can't see, and then he gets kind of matted around his mouth and stuff. So I took some blunt scissors and just gave him a really choppy haircut around his eyes and ears and stuff and mouth so that he can actually see again. And then I decided I'd be, like a groomer and put, I had some fabric scrap, and I just cut a big triangle and tied it around his neck like a bandana because, why not? So anyway, moving on to other finished objects. One of the most exciting ones that I just finished is I decided to be part of the Knit Collage spring knit along, and I'm not usually great with knit alongs, but this sounded like fun, and since I wasn't doing anything but staying at home, I figured why not knit a giant chunky sweater. And so I bought a kit. I was able to get one of their kits, which I guess their kits went pretty fast, if my understanding is correct. And their kits, they are big chunky yarn. The sweater patterns are typically done on size 17 needles, which is huge if you've ever knit with a 17. I'm used to knitting with like 3 through 8 mostly. Those are my projects, mostly 3s and 8s, you know, in between that range. And this was on a 17, so this was interesting. And the kit, the patterns are usually a combination of like chunky yarn and fabrics, and the whole idea behind them is this very boho mixed media type of sweater. So so anyway, yeah. So this is my, it's the Kaleidoscope sweater. That's what I did. And I did a black version, and all the stripes in here are actually fabric strips. So they're these cut cotton fabric strips, and then the black is wool, 100% wool. And I did the short sleeve version. There was a short sleeve and a long sleeve version of the Kaleidoscope sweater. The short sleeve version, they showed with like a flare, kind of cropped and sort of a flared body that sort of came out like this. So you had like a little bit bigger, which didn't make any sense to me. I don't like it. I don't know. For this heavy of a fabric, I wanted to do something a little bit. I just did the straight body. And I was originally going to do long sleeves, but I ran out of some of the fabric strips. And if I was going to do long sleeves, I really wanted to be able to try to match the pattern. So I just kept it with the short sleeves, which I actually really like. I posted a picture on Instagram the other day with me wearing like a long sleeve stripy shirt underneath it, and I love it. It's so cute. It is like I started the project Tuesday night because they did a virtual Zoom knit along where there was like almost 200 people, and you know, they just kind of, the designer and the yarn company owner got on and were just like introducing themselves and talking about their projects and stuff. And I started it that night. I cast it on and I finished it Thursday morning. So I started Tuesday night, finished Thursday morning, and I did not knit that entire time. I mean, I knit a lot of the time, but this was a sweater that was done in like under 36 hours. So that was very appealing to have a finished object so quickly. The other thing I really liked about this was it felt like I kind of broke through some barriers. I've always had a little bit of a weirded out feel over mixing yarns, not the same bases, not the same media, and this really broke through that for me. I have all these ideas now in my head. I've got scrap yarn and different weird textures of things that I'd bought a long time ago that I don't know really what I'm going to do with. And so it sort of opened that up for me and is allowing me to be a little bit more creative and a little bit more free with my with the media I use when I knit. So thank you, Knit Collage, for that. I did end up buying some more of their yarn, although most of their stuff is out of stock right now because of the knit along. But I was able to find some more of their yarn I want to make one of the other sweaters. So part of the knit along came with like 7 or 8 patterns and all these like videos for how to do stuff if you're new, and it was basically like follow along video tutorials for making the sweater. Like, this is how you cast on, and then you're joining the round, and then, you know, you do some short rows, all these videos throughout the whole thing. And that was you know, pretty interesting to watch some of it. I didn't need a lot of that. They did do a German twisted cast on, so I watched the video to kind of remember how to do that. I did my own short row version because I don't like wraps and turns. I like the German short row where you do the double stitch. So that seems to be a little bit tighter for me and doesn't give me holes, you know, when you're working it. So, but other than that, like, it was really fun. But one of the other patterns is the pixelated cardigan. And it's a like 3/4 sleeve color work cardigan. And I really enjoyed working with those size 17s, which I thought I would not. I thought I would have achy hands and it would be, you know, frustrating to work with such large needles. I did have a little bit of a tender spot on my thumb because I was using my thumb to kind of like push through the needle because it was so big and I needed a little bit of help. But other than that, like I really enjoyed working on this project. So I wanted another big chunky sweater to work on. So I bought some more Knit Collage in their daisy chain. And I bought 2 of these. I bought them separately because I'm a moron and looked at the pattern and thought that I had bought enough the first time, and I actually needed 2 of these. So this is the daisy chain, and it's in their Frosty Azure color, Azure, that's I think how you say it, colorway. And it has these little daisies mixed in, and there's also like ribbon throughout, kind of spun into the yarn. And this is going to be the contrasting color on the yoke of the pixelated cardigan. Very excited to start this. I could not get any of their chunky plain yarn because everything is out of stock. So I ended up buying some loopy mango, big chunky wool. It has the same kind of spin that the black does. And I have quite a bit of black left, but I didn't think I had enough for the pixelated cardigan. So I bought some cream or white loopy U, and I thought that would be really pretty for the pixelated cardigan with this as the contrast. So it's not the same, you know, company, but I'm still gonna, you know, do that as my contrast. And I just thought the daisy chain was so cute. I love how they have all these little bitty daisies throughout and ribbons, and it's just gorgeous. So I'm very excited for that. They had lots of cool colors, but almost all their colors were out. The blue is perfect though, so I had no problem with you know, getting the blue. I was perfectly happy with this as a contrast color. So their purple was really pretty, and they had like a peachy and a pink, and I would have loved any of those. They're not cheap, that's for sure, and you don't get a ton of yardage because it's bulky yarn, but I don't do this craft because it's cheap. I do this craft because I love it, and sometimes you just splurge and buy yourself stuff that you know is going to make something beautiful. So that is the Kaleidoscope sweater. I cannot remember the girl who designed it, but the pattern is part of the Knit Collage Knit Along, and I love it. I've worn it, like I said, once. The day I finished it, I kind of steam blocked it instead of wet blocking it because it's so thick. I mean, it's super thick. But I was surprised it wasn't, I mean, it was kind of a yucky day that day. It wasn't like totally cold, but I was comfortable in it the whole time. And it's definitely rustic wool. I don't think I could wear it on its own, probably. It might be a little itchy. I'm not sure how that's going to go, so we'll see. But very excited to have that done. Now, it was also very interesting because the fabric strips throughout, I mean, it's fabric, right? So there's a lot of knots that are in the fabric skeins. So, you know, you just kind of work with the knots, and like your sweater has knots in it in places, and I was kind of okay with that. Normally I would hate that, but it felt like it was okay with this one. And I mean, you can see there's a lot of like frayed bits, but again, like that's just the nature of the fabric, and it felt right. Like there's a little knot right there, I think, you know, but it didn't bother me as much as I thought it would. Whereas a regular, like a normal sweater without having so much. I mean, this is pretty busy, so it kind of hides all that. So a normal sweater that didn't have this much detail, I don't think I would appreciate having knots in, but I don't really mind having knots in this one. So there's that. And then, yeah, excited to use this. Excited. I think my other skein of it is coming today, and my Loopy Mango, I think it's called, is coming on Friday, which I kind of was hoping it would be here earlier. But I do still have to finish the bottom edge of the Kaleidoscope sweater, because you're supposed to crochet an edge on it, which I didn't have a big enough crochet hook. The crochet hook is like a size N, which I think the biggest one I had was a K, and it just wasn't going to be big enough. So that's coming tomorrow or Wednesday, I think. Amazon Prime shipping is no longer, overnight or 2 days. It's taking about 5 to 7 days now, which totally makes sense. I'm sure they're extremely busy. So that will be finished when I get the crochet hook, but I'm still calling it finished because I've worn it. The ends are all woven in, which there was a lot of ends with all the changing of the colors. But I did try to magic knot wherever I could, and I spit spliced the black yarn together, so I didn't have to weave. It was mostly fabric ends that I had to weave in. But again, knots didn't really bother me so much. So yeah, that's it on that one. The other finished object that I have is my Daelyn pullover. This is Daelyn by Isabel Kraemer, and I did this in Brooklyn Tweed Shelter, and it's the one with the back is all a garter stitch panel. It's all knit in the round. It's really, really cute. Turned out great. Has a little bit of a high-low hem, just because the garter, you end up doing some short rows down here to extend the garter panel, because garter tends to kind of suck up a little bit, and you've got stockinette on the front, and if it just ended the way that it ended, the back would have been a lot higher than the front, and that's not really, wasn't really the look they were going for. And then I just did there was 2 options for the collar, and I just did the crew collar. The other option was a big cowl neck, and while I had enough yarn, I molded over a bit and just decided the crew neck would be perfect. I made, I think, the medium size, or no, I think I made size 2. It has a little bit of positive ease, so it's very oversized, but it's not so big that I, feel like I'm swimming in it. Which totally reminds me, I'm going to pause because I have another finished object that I haven't shared with you guys yet either, and I need to do that. So hang on. Okay. So anyway, sorry, but I had to go get that other finished object because it's very exciting, and I want to make sure that you guys know about it. So anyway, the Daelyn pullover, I love it. This is Brooklyn Tweed Shelter in the Camper colorway. Yeah, it's Camper, and it's just this lovely, soft, pinky peach, kind of pinky peach. I don't know, but it's lovely, and it'll be great when the weather turns. Obviously, I probably won't be able to wear many of these things in the next couple months, but that's okay. I don't usually knit at the right time of the year anyway. Like, I knit all year long, and I knit sweaters regardless. A lot of times when I feel like I'm ready to work on a summer object, it's already summer, and I may or may not finish it by the end of the summer or not, and then I'm not usually wearing it until next year. So whatever, go figure. So the next thing, though, that I finished, it's like sweater mania here, is my Bright Note sweater, and it's written, and it's on Ravelry, available now. And I am going to give you guys a coupon code because I had the first 2 weeks that after posting it, I had a new, discount for people, and I posted it on Instagram, but I know everybody's not on Instagram, and I kind of wanted to make sure that my YouTube followers were able to get in on that discount as well. So I'm going to give you guys a coupon code. It's going to be right here on the screen and also in the description box. If you go to Ravelry, it's the Bright Note, and it is this, also in Brooklyn Tweed Shelter. It's a pullover with some color work at the bottom, and this is so cozy and comfortable, and the color work's very easy. It comes in a lot of different sizes, I think all the way up to like a size 65 chest, so I'm hoping it's very size inclusive for most people. And it's just a nice drop shoulder, really basic, you know, in the round kind of construction. So the coupon code for you guys is just going to be YouTube. That's it. YouTube, one word, just like this, just like you're watching. So if you put that in before you check out, you will get 20% off. That's what I offered for the first couple weeks, and I wanted to extend that offer to you guys because I know I hadn't talked to you guys yet about the sweater, and I planned on doing that. So check it out. I will also put a link to the pattern in the description box also. So I'm very excited about the Bright Note. It's very comfortable, and again, oversized, and just cute. I'm excited. I was happy to get all the numbers done. I was happy to get it published. I'm always a little slow on the whole publishing things. I have lots of ideas and I never get them on paper. So getting it on paper and getting it out there to you guys made me really happy. So I hope you enjoy that. Those are all my knitted finished objects. I do have another finished object that is not knitting at all, but cross stitch. I did finally finish my Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery cross stitch Into the Jungle from like 2 years ago. I think 2 years ago. This was their monthly stitch along. Like you joined and you got a block each month, and the idea was you were supposed to be done with it at the end of the year. I wasn't done with it at the end of the year, but I did finish it. I finally got the words and the border put on, and I finished it all up, and I'm so excited about it. It turned out great. I just need to frame it now, and I'm gonna gift it to my nephews. For their room. Should be pretty cool. They're pretty young still. I just have to find a frame for it, and either frame it myself or have somebody do it. I think I'm gonna frame it myself, but right now I can't, go out and look for a frame that will actually fit it. I kind of want to take the piece with me, make sure it works. I don't want to buy something online and not have it work. But this is Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery Into the Jungle. And there's all sorts of little cute animals. Happy to have it done. Better late than never, right? So that's that. So exciting to have that finished too. I've also I've tried this, I think it's Dalgonia coffee. It's the whipped coffee that everybody is, it's all the rage right now. It's pretty good. I feel a little jacked up on it though, because it feels like it's a lot of coffee. But it's like kind of sweet, not overly sweet. I kind of have to put most of the recipes tell you to put the whipped stuff on top. It's pretty thick, and then you don't get any of the milk mixed in with it, and it's pretty strong. So what I did today was I put the whipped stuff at the bottom, and then I put ice, and then I poured milk over the whipped stuff, so it kind of mixed a little bit better. You still get a lot of that foam on top, but it was hard to, you drink it and you'd end up with foam bits on your nose and on your lips and stuff. But it's pretty good, yummy and kind of fun to kind of whip it all up and stuff. So anyway, I've been trying that. Let's see, works in progress. So new design ideas coming out and are coming around in my head. Some old whips that I've been working on, and I'll pull out and show you. I have been working on my crochet Ziggy Interrupted shawl. This one, I have most of the squares done for the third granny square panel. I just have ends to weave in. They're little squares like this. and you put them all together, and I have ends to weave in, and I have a couple like of the half squares to do for the third panel, but I have, let's see, my crochet hook was all stuck and stuff. So this is what I have so far. So this is the beginning. This is the granny square panel, and then the first of the chevron stripes, and then the second granny square panel, and then the third of the chevron like stripes. And now, like I said, I'm just constructing the next panel that will go here, and then I'll start the stripes again. The yarn I'm using, almost all of it is yarn that I've dyed except for one skein, which is Oloop's Fashion Knot. It's this one. Let's see if I can find it. I am just in love with all these colors too. I think they're great. I kind of want to do like a knit thing with them when I'm done, but you know, I should probably pick other colors. But this is the one Oloop's one. It was called, dang it, my brain, guys, sometimes. Oh, I think I actually have the tag in here, like a good girl, maybe. Oh, yes, Cahoots. Oloop's Fashion Knot, Cahoots color. That's this one. Dude, I'm super proud of myself. I never carry my tags with me. I almost always throw them away. But everything else is Yarn and You, the Rock and Roll base, which is sparkle. The Cahoots Fashion Knot is also sparkle. This one has gold stellina, and mine have silver stellina in them, but you can't really tell much difference. So the Cahoots, which is, see if I can find a stripe of it so you guys can see. It's this one. This modeled one right here. And then I have this, which is Hot Toddy, and that's the light cream one next to it. And then I have My Bleeding Heart, which is the pink one. And the yellow one is Wildflower. And the green one is Deep in the Woods. And I love this. I'm really enjoying it. I've been taking the grannies to work and working on the grannies on my lunch break because they're just kind of easy, you know, put them together. Now I actually have to sit down though, lay them out, and kind of sew them together. So that's going to take a little bit of thought. So this has been kind of on hold for a couple days, but I am working to get this done. It will have tassels on it, which I'm super excited about. I'm very into tassels right now. I just bought like a ton of patterns too with tassels. So, and it will have like an edging to kind of make sure that it has that finished look. So cute though. So if you crochet and you like granny squares, this is really awesome. It is, I'm not sure who it's by, but I'll put it in the box. I knew it at one point, but you know, I have so much going on in my brain that yeah, I don't always remember details like that. But yeah, I will put it in the description box here, and I will tell you that the pattern is written in the European crochet terminology. So their double crochets are R single crochets, American single crochets, and their treble crochets are R double crochets. So when you read it, you do kind of have to do that conversion, make sure you're understanding the conversion in your head. She does put a list of the conversion, the terms on the pattern, which is very helpful, but it does make you think a little bit. So, you know. Anyway, that's the Ziggy Interrupted. The next work in progress is another one that I pulled out from a while ago. And I'm almost done with this one too. This is my Tray Fun shawl. It's like a cowl shawl, and it's like on big Aran weight, and it has all these little details, and it will have little tassels on this row that you add later, and then it has these welts, and then this brioche section at the bottom. It's very wild, crazy color. I got almost all the way done though, and then I realized I did the brioche section wrong, because I think I know what I'm doing sometimes, and then I don't read the instructions all the way through. And I was looking at it and I was like, gosh, that just doesn't look right. Like the center where you do the increases, they weren't lining up, and I was like, but I think that's what it said. Like, you just go to the marker and then you do the next increase. But what I didn't know, what I didn't follow, was she has you move the marker, and I didn't read the next line very well. I just kind of was like, oh, okay, I'm doing this thing, and this is what I'm doing, and I just go on, move on. So I had to rip back about 7 rows, which is really hard in brioche, and then now they're all lined up right, so they look like they're supposed to. But I kept looking at it going, this doesn't look symmetrical. Like, it doesn't look right. It looks like it's branching off all on one leg, and what I should have done, what I should have had, is the increases coming out from the middle of the last increase, which totally makes sense. And it made sense in my head, but I kept thinking that that wasn't the way the pattern was written. And so I was just trying to follow what the pattern was written, and then I went and I looked at pictures, and I'm like, I can't really tell what's going on in the pictures. I couldn't tell. They looked like they were all lined up, and I don't know. Anyway, this pattern totally kind of I needed to make sure I read through it. It's taught me that I don't know. I do feel like I know a lot about knitting, but I don't know everything, and I really shouldn't make assumptions when it comes to patterns. It's different if I'm making something on my own, because I just kind of like, do it. But when I'm following somebody else's pattern, I really should read the instructions, because the pattern was not written poorly. It was just that I didn't read it properly. So Tray Fun by Justyna, I can't say her last name, but it's Let's Knit on Instagram, and it's LETSNITKNIT. Sorry, I can't spell today either. And it's really a cute pattern. It does use Aran weight yarn. The yarn I'm using is the multicolor is Qing Fibre in the Cha-Cha colorway, and the blue is Mint Julep Sweetgeorgia worsted. Now, Sweetgeorgia's worsted is like a little heavier than regular traditional worsted, so it is more like an Aran. This is a heavy duty, it's pretty heavy. It would be kind of cool if you can come up with a lighter weight version, because a lot of people like, not so heavy stuff. But I didn't care. I thought it was fun, and it's going to have tassels and stuff on it, so that was super cool. So that's Tray Fun. That's what that's called. Then I also pulled out and started doing a little bit more work on my Once in Floral. This is Colorwork sweater. I just remember him as Max the Knitter on Instagram. That's his design. He's done a lot of different ones. But I'm finally getting into where the color work actually is starting to look like good color work. My floats are still pretty loose, which I'm trying, because most of the time I keep things pretty tight, and it puckers quite a bit, and then I don't have as much stretch. So I am trying to be very careful with my floats. My neck opening seems pretty big, but I don't know. We'll see. I think he ends up having you pick up here and do more for the collar or something. I don't know. If anything, it will be kind of a wide collar, but it's cool. I'm liking it. I'm using some, like the brown is Brooklyn Tweed and Loft in the Owl's Nest or Owl colorway. God, guys, I'm horrible. Don't trust my, color or my memory for anything. The yellow and the pink are both Tuku wool, Tuku fingering. And let's see, I don't know if they actually have names or if they just have, they have numbers. This is Yupo. This is the yellow in Yupo, or color 23, I think. And then the purple is Sealy, Siley, and it's color H29. And I really think this will be so cool. I'm trying to just get through the color work, and now it's finally starting to look like an actual rose. There are a couple rows that you have 3 colors going, which is a little difficult, but it's not so bad. And I'm about, again, like halfway through the chart. So hopefully, once I get through the chart, I think it will be, obviously it'll be smooth sailing because there's no other color work throughout the rest of the pattern. So we'll see. There's no shaping or anything yet, so I don't know if there's going to be like short rows at some point to give it shape. I really don't have any clue, but we'll have to see. I haven't read that far ahead. I will probably try to read that far ahead though, so that I know what I'm doing when I get to that point. Anyway, that is Once in Floral. That's coming along slowly, which is fine. Then I started another pair of socks because I finished the one I had, and I was watching Michelle from Naughty Knitwits. She was making these socks with some stripes. And they were the fruit stripe gum sock pattern. And so I had some Knit Picks Felici in the Sally colorway, and I decided I'd do this fruit stripe gum thing. And it's pretty cool. It's pretty easy, memorizable pattern. It is a pay-for pattern, but I thought the look of it was so cool with striped yarn. It looks kind of like you do a little entrelac, but you don't. So yeah, started that one. I'm doing that on a US 1.5. So Cahoots, their ones are a little small. They're kind of like, I don't know, I think they're like Addy zeros. Addy ones are like 1.5, and I've done a lot of my socks on Addy ones from when I was first started knitting. And while I don't necessarily like the cables of Addies, the size was right. Like, it gave me the right gauge for my socks. So when I do the Cahoots now, I love these needles like so much. I just go with the 1.5, so because I feel like their size is about equivalent to an Addy one, and it seems a little bit more what I'm used to. So fruit stripe gum socks in the Knit Picks Felici Sally. I think this is Sally from Nightmare Before Christmas color, I think. So I started some socks. You know, those will be slow, I'm sure, because, you know, I'm slow. I did also start a new design idea. This is going to be like a tank top from the top down. So right now I just have like the back panel going. It's just some eyelets, and I've got I provisionally cast it on for each shoulder, and then the neck, and then the second shoulder. So I'm almost at the point, it's all curling up and stuff, but I'm almost at the point where I'm going to put this on some waste yarn and start working on the front. And this is just kind of a idea that I had, and we'll see how it turns out. If it doesn't, I'm just using some cat sandwich fiber sock that I had wound up for a sock pattern I was working on, but I have ripped it out a couple times because I wasn't happy with the way, or wasn't interested in doing the sock. So I decided I would do it for this tank toppy sweater shirt thing. So we'll see how it comes. It's just an idea brewing in my head. I've got some details I want to add to it to make it a little bit more interesting. And we'll see. Yeah. So far, just the little eyelets on the back. And then I did start a new a new cross stitch project, because, you know, I finished that other one that took me 2 years. Why not start one that'll take me another 2 years? And this is Visit Hogsmeade. It is a cross stitch pattern. I got it off of Etsy. It's really super cool. I'll have to put a link to the cross stitch thing. But I bought a bunch of floss and I organized it. Like, woohoo, look at me. I'm organized. Not organized at all. But, I mean, I felt pretty organized there. And I just have, this is like a quarter of the, this is 1/4 of the picture. And so I'm just working on this bottom part right here. I just started on this part. And it's literally like a painting. It's not where you just do like an outline of something. It's like the entire background it's all cross stitch. So it's going to take me a significant amount of time. This is just, like I said, 1/4 of it. I started on that, and this is what I have so far. A very small amount, but also fun, and easy, like really not hard. A lot of it, once I get the outline of this, the houses and stuff done and the mountains in the back, the sky is pretty much all one color, so it'll just be a repetitive one color kind of thing, and then every once in a while there'll be this little extra color that you put in. So I don't think that that'll be too hard. It'll just be time consuming. This is gonna end up being a gift for someone else also. It might take a couple years before they get it, but that won't matter. So it's Harry Potter Visit Hogsmeade cross stitch, and I got it off of Etsy, and I'll put a link to what it is in the description box below, like if you're interested in it. It's I'm not sure, Country Magic Stitch is the company or the person I bought it from. And yeah, she has some really cool, like what do you call it, like fan style art. So there's a lot of book inspired Visit Mordor, or you know, the Tower of Isengard. So there's a lot of Lord of the Rings stuff. There's different, they're just full painting style ones, but they're all from like fiction based, popular, you know, genre type stuff. Pretty cool. So I'm excited, and I do enjoy working on that. It gives me something different to do. That's all the projects I think I've got going, which is plenty, you know. I do have some that I cleaned up my closet a little bit the other day and was able to kind of walk in there where my stash is. And as I was cleaning up, I was pulling things out and deciding whether or not I'm going to continue to work on these projects, that kind of thing. And it did bring a lot of some of these projects that had been languishing to the forefront of my mind, so that I could be like, oh, yeah, I should finish this. And that's kind of where some of these came back out of the woodwork, which is good, because, you know, it's important to, I think it's important to try to finish what I've started. I don't make that an absolute rule, because I don't live by absolutes. But, you know, I'm trying. But right now I'm just trying also to do whatever makes me happy. So if buying a bunch of stuff, like I bought a ton of patterns the other day. People seem to be having pattern sales. I've been buying a lot of patterns. I bought some knit books and some more yarn, and so different things. One of the things that Instagram inspired me to buy was this book, this Opt Art Socks book, and I'm sure everybody's seen this at some point. It's been around now for a couple years. I think it was published, let's see, I think it's an Interweave publication, 2013, and there's a lot of cool color work style socks or mosaic style socks, and the one I really wanted was, I saw a girl knitting it on Instagram with some rainbow colored yarn, and it is this one. It's Ludwig, and those looked really fun. It just looks like it's mosaic and striping and slip stitches. And so I bought some Regia rainbowy colored sock yarn. This is 6-ply, so I don't know why that's cool or not, but I mean, sturdy, right? So 6-ply sock yarn, Regia, I think it's 150 grams skein, 410 yards, 75% virgin wool, and 25% polyamide. And I got this one. So really bright rainbow, kind of subdued rainbow. I'm really excited to do some color work socks with these. I also bought, Tracy from the Grocery Girls just had a sale, and one of her socks is, I can't remember the name of it. It's like this lattice, it's like tartan, the tartan socks, I think. It's like plaid is what it looks like, and it's throughout the whole sock. And again, it uses 2 colors, and she used kind of a rainbow. So I thought I would make the Ludwig socks with one of these and the tartan socks with another one. And I have some stroll fingering, like a 50 gram skein of some navy that might be cool. And I also have like a gray that might also be cool. I don't know if it's enough for the contrast color. We'll have to see. I don't know. It'll all depend. So I bought those. It's another one of my purchases. And I bought the book. And then I also bought a bag from Mila's Sweet Makes. And she is somebody I've followed on Instagram for a long time. And she just started her shop like a year or so ago. And she makes these great bags. She had gifted me a bag a long time ago when I started the podcast, and I use that bag all the time. And so I bought this one, which I'm super excited about. It's these cute little hippos, and it's just kind of very neutral. It's a giant bag. I was really surprised at how big it was. I wasn't expecting it to be this big. But it's got this nice drawstring. It's got a handle, because when I want to knit and walk, this is kind of what I do. And I just love it. I love it so much. The inside is just this nice kind of neutral 3-dot fabric, which actually reminds me of my wedding cake, because we had this little 3-dot, design on our frosting, which, by the way, it was my 17th wedding anniversary yesterday. Very exciting. We ordered takeout and brought it in. It's so weird. We don't usually celebrate very much anyway, but it was weird, just kind of hanging out and having takeout at home with the kids and stuff on our anniversary. But yeah, so Mila's Sweet Makes on Etsy, and I will post a link to her shop in the description box also. So I bought that. I love it. It's really good quality. It's beautifully done. She does zipper bags as well as drawstring bags. And yeah, you should check her out. That is going to definitely have my next project in it. I'm not sure which one, but we'll see. Anyway, that's all I got today, guys. Thanks so much for hanging out with me, and I hope you're staying safe. Wear those masks. Wash your hands lots. I want to see you guys all back here next time. Bye.